Good morning, folks. Ann here. I'm out on a mission this morning. It's about 6:45, and it's already 79 degrees here in upstate New York. And I wanted to get this walk over with before it gets too hot. Now, I see we do have some people here, so it's not deserted. What a beautiful morning otherwise. There's a nice little breeze. But I do think I have to take it slow because the humidity is not that great. So today, folks, I wanted to talk about something that we usually don't think about, but we feel it. And that is digestion. When you start the low-carb diet, your digestion takes a big hit. Traumatic. Because you have to figure your gut bacteria has been running off of sugar and processed food for 40 years, 60 years, whatever the case may be. And when you make a change, like going on the low-carb diet, boy, it is hot in the sun, folks. Humid, too. I'm gonna go slow. But when you start the low-carb diet, your gut bacteria doesn't know what's going on. It has the bad bacteria in it that's been working to process the garbage food that we've all been eating for most of our lives. So that's why I recommend going slow, because when you go fast and make a drastic change, the side effects are worse. That's why I like. Now, it took me a whole month to get off carbs. But the one thing you can be assured of is that once it does adjust to the new way of living, to processing the fats instead of the sugars, it's gonna work the way it's always supposed to work. Your digestion is going to be perfect or close to it. Of course, it depends on some different things, whether you have prior gut issues or even your age could have some problems. But a good part of it can be fixed. Sorry, folks. This heat, boy. 6:45 in the morning. So, our digestion is the center of everything. It processes all the food. It's responsible for cravings. So when you fix it, you're going to be so much better off, folks. Now, as you're going through this change, I know I don't look my best, do I? I don't feel my best right now. I think it's the heat. I mentioned in yesterday's video that I have a history of fainting in the heat. Boy, the air is like thick. So we'll see how many times I can go around. I'll try to do my best, but I'm not gonna risk passing out or anything. Now, when you make the change, folks, it's a lot better in the shade. When you make the change, you're gonna feel gassy. You might hear gurgling in your stomach. You might feel bloated. You might have a problem going poop. You might poop too much. You might be running to the bathroom with diarrhea. All these different changes are because of the different types of food you're eating. You're going from the sugar to your eggs and bacon and meat and butter, and your stomach is not used to it. So any number of these things can happen to you when you switch. So just as long as you're aware of it, you won't think there's something terrible going on. It's normal. And the quicker you make the switch, the faster, the more of these side effects you're going to have. You know, your body is actually detoxing from the old foods, the old way of eating. And you know when you're eating all those carbs, and I've mentioned this before, but when you're eating a lot of carbs, that retains water. So now all of a sudden you don't have those carbs. So you don't have the water to flush out your system as easily as you once did. So it's going to take a little bit of time for that fat to take the place of the water. So if you're having a problem going to the bathroom, this could be one of the reasons. And also, you're not eating the fiber that you once did when you were on the carbs and you had your wheat bread and, you know, your vegetables. Now, some of you still eat vegetables, but you might be cutting down on that, and that's also having an effect on how your stomach is behaving. So now the things that you could do for that, folks, is drink more water. And also have your electrolytes, like I always say, because you need magnesium and you need salt. You could add a pinch of salt to your water, or you could have some broth. That could help the slow digestion or any problems that you're having. And don't be afraid to use the olive oil, the butter, or even avocado, because that'll help. That'll help replace those fats and help move the food along. Another one is to move, to get out and walk. They say that it's the best thing. You could get your bowels start moving better when you're out walking or you're moving. And so that's a good thing to do. But folks, if you have a problem with heat, you know, don't go out in it. I said it yesterday. Half the country is having a heat wave, and it's not worth it. I'm going to try to make it another time around. It's okay in the shade, but once I get in that sun, at 7 o'clock in the morning, folks. And you need to have some magnesium too. That'll help. Well, that could be in the form of your electrolytes, or you might even have to take an additional supplement. Everybody's different, folks, and I can't tell you what exactly to do, but those are things that might help when you're having the transition issues. Okay, I'm looking at my notes, folks. Just trying to get it in order here. I went ahead of myself. So once you get over this hump of getting rid of your carbs and processed food, you're going to feel so much better. You're going to be less bloated. You're going to feel lighter, clearer. Your bowels, your stomach is going to process food the way that it was meant to. The gut bacteria is going to turn from bad to good. And the fuel, you're going from a sugar fuel to a diesel fuel. The best fuel that you could possibly have. And that's how it's meant to be. And they say that it heals a lot of different types of illnesses. I've heard that even my diverticulitis can be healed. And we already know that my last flare-up only lasted a week instead of almost 3 weeks. So I'm hopeful that eventually I won't get any flare-ups at all. And I went through some of this too when I started. I went slow, but I did go through some of these issues. There were times when I did have diarrhea and I was running to the bathroom. And there was also times that I couldn't go quite as well. And I would think, well, they say you don't go to the bathroom that often. But then the following day I would go. But I think this is my last round. It's going to have to be. This heat is unbearable, folks. I thought getting out here early in the morning would make a difference. You know, it scares me, the heat. I remember one time I was standing, I must have been 12 years old. I was standing waiting in line outside of a pool down in New York City. It was a hot day. It was very extremely hot and we were standing in the sun. And we must have been out there for a couple of hours. But by the time I got to the 10 feet from the ticket booth, was inside the building, and I was already out of the sun, I went down. I passed out. Well, close to passing out. I was aware of what was going on, but I couldn't even stand. I went down. My hands started closing. And sorry folks, but these things are real, and this is why you have to be aware of that sun. Don't try to push it. This is going to be my last one. This is not worth it, even this morning. But my hands were closing. I couldn't keep them open, and they had to carry me over to the first aid room, and they put smelling salts under my nose. And I came out of it. And that was the first time I ever had that problem. So that really, really scared me. I never had experienced anything like that. Then there was another time, I remember we were out. I was in the military. I was stationed in Germany. And we were out doing our run for the morning. And I remember coming back to the barracks, to my room, and trying to open the door, and my hand started shaking. And then down I went again. And actually, I do have a little scar because of that, because I hit the side of I got the door open, but I hit the side of the dresser. And the other couple of incidents sorry folks, they weren't quite as bad, but they let me know I have to be careful. So I'm in the shade now. I'm going back to my car. This is going to be a quick video. Let me see what else. Now, I wanted to talk about the gallbladder, because all of a sudden after this diet, it has a new job. And that is pumping out bile. Now, bile is like soap. Think of it like soap. it goes around your body and cleans everything up. So the bile is a good thing. It's not used to, the new way of eating. You might produce too much bile. And it might make you feel heavy or queasy. Just remember, it's the bile that's kicking in. And it has to go through an adjustment phase. And once it gets through the adjustment phase, you won't have those problems. So there's certain things that can cause different symptoms. It's all normal when you're transitioning. And it's nothing to be concerned about. Yes, it's annoying when you have to run to the bathroom constantly. But it's a reaction to the way that you're eating, the change. Or if you're doing it too quickly. Now, if it was that bad, you can introduce, once again, maybe something, to slow it down a little. Maybe you're reducing the carbs too quickly, or, I'm not sure, folks. You need to see a doctor if it gets that bad. But at least you're aware. Slow down on your fat, and slow down on your artificial sweeteners. Try to go gentle. I always recommend a slow transition. But after it's all over, you'll have the best digestion system that you could ask for. And I'm already feeling it. Now, I'm in ketosis for quite a while. Do you realize I have 3 months already? It's 3 months already. On the 22nd it was. I didn't even realize it. I thought I was at 2.5 weeks. Goes fast, folks. If I didn't start this, I'd still be sitting on that chair like I was on March 21st. And I might even be worse. I could be heavier. I could be getting even worse flare-ups. My sugar could be even higher. These 3 months just flew right by, and I'm in a better position. I have a long way to go. I'm not anywhere close to where I want to be, but I'm in the right direction. And that's what you have to remember and concentrate on, that you're taking your baby steps and you're headed in the right direction, folks. My life is already changing. I mean, just for the fact that I want to get out here at 7 o'clock in the morning. What, have I lost my mind? But I do like the morning hours. But this is too much. Please be careful. Don't go out in this heat. Not even in the morning. Well, it depends on where you are, of course, but I stayed at home yesterday. Well, I did go do my shop, and I hope some of you were able to get a little bit of help by watching yesterday's video about Aldi's. And I got that all done, but for the rest of the day yesterday, I didn't leave the house. I kept my air conditioner on, and we have to do that. Sometimes we should not push ourselves. We have to do that, folks. And I know you all know that. I'm just reminding myself. Maybe I shouldn't have come out here this morning, but I thought I would beat the heat, but apparently that's not so. And I'm worried that this is going to be like this all summer. I don't know what I'll do if I can't get out here and do my walk. I don't know what we could do, folks. I know those hiking trails, they're cooler because the trees are over the trails and they are cooler out there. Maybe I'll have to start doing that. Now, by the end of this month up here in upstate New York, we get rid of the black flies. So maybe it'll get better. And of course, I'll use the spray, which I keep forgetting to do. But so we'll figure it out as the days go on, folks. I thought I would have a better walk, faster walk today, and it's not happening. So I'm back to my car. I'm gonna do some stretches, and I'm gonna get going back to my apartment. I do have to meet my brother at 10 o'clock. Today's our Mickey D breakfast. For those that are new, we like to have we don't eat the bread. He doesn't either. He's a diabetic. But we buy one, get one for $1 deal that they have down there. The sausage, egg, and cheese muffins. And we take all of our bread off of it and we eat it like that. And then we get a big coffee. So I enjoy going out and meeting him on Tuesday. So I don't want to stop that. And I know McDonald's is not the best. But, you know, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. You got to go with what is affordable. And Dr. Ken Berry says, even if you can't afford the more expensive meats, you still can do this diet on the cheaper kind of meat. And that would include McDonald's and, you know, the hot dogs and sausages and all of it. He said you still can do it. Watch Dr. Ken Berry. He'll give you a lot of good information on it. But listen, folks, you all have a nice, cool, wonderful day. And I will see you in the next one. Love you guys. Bye.